thank you for joining us today in another episode of 10 Minutes of Your Time, where we sit down with your favorite people for just 10 minutes and try to pick their brain. My name is Josh Paget, and my special guest today is Dave Marquez of Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. Dave, how you doing today?
I'm fine, thanks.
Thank you so much for having us come in here today. So basically, I mean, the people that know you know that you're a big person here in wrestling on the West Coast. You run a promotion called Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. But I come here to your house today, and first of all, thank you so much for having us come in. You've got Mickey Mouse and Kermit the Frog around here. You got a lot of Disney paraphernalia here. You used to work at Disney, correct?
That's right.
How'd you get started over there?
I remember driving down my first car, and it was my first job, and I've always been interested in Walt Disney. If there's any such a thing as a pinup fella or someone that you want to be like or admire, Walt Disney is that for me. Close runner-up is Jim Henson. Just being a kid, seeing him on television, granted he was already dead when I was a kid, but we still had the shows, The Wonderful World of Color, Wonderful World of Disney, and he was still the host. So I saw this great genial type man on television tell you about exciting things that you could experience, and the funny thing is that we can just go down the 5 freeway and actually experience it. So he's playing with monkeys and dogs and animation, the inanimate to how audio animatronics work, to actually going down to Disneyland and seeing it in real life. And to me, that was kind of the greatest experiences as a young person, and actually seeing from the onset of it coming together to the construction process, whether it was motion pictures or theme parks or television, to actually experiencing the final product in myself. So, he had a phrase called, "It's kind of fun to do the impossible," and that he would always say, and I've tried to live by that too, because we've accomplished the impossible many times.
Yeah, now tell me a little bit about that. And most people, I would say idolize what Disney has done over the last several decades. And then you actually got to live that dream and actually work for them. What did you do for them?
Well, I started in the late 80s as a tour guide at Disneyland. I wore the plaid that you might see people walking around with, mostly with celebrities, dignitaries, but I started giving the guided tour of Disneyland. And then over the years, just went up through the ranks, per se, to being lent out to the studio to do things, or press and publicity at the park, or broadcast services, whether it was producing commercials or writing or whatever. We even started an internal channel there called Cast TV that is now, from what I understand, really big. Before it was just around Disneyland, and it was very difficult just to get a signal out of where we had it. So I've done just about everything, but the guided tours is probably, in guest relations, what I'm most proud of what we did together, from creating guest service models to guest service matrices to all kinds of corporate stuff. And preserving Walt's legacy was very important to us, because at that time, Michael Eisner really didn't, from what we felt, wanted to keep the legacy of Walt Disney kind of like this and rise the star of Michael Eisner as the modern day Walt Disney. And we all know what happened to him. So
that sounds like a dream job. Like, it's a dream job for my mom. Like, I just got back from Disney World. I just, like, no matter how old you get, you still you can't help it. And you went from Disney to pro wrestling.
Well, I've always been in pro wrestling too. So growing up here in Los Angeles around the Olympic Auditorium, my grandfather, he sold fruit. And so he was always around the Olympic Auditorium, and he would sell the bad fruit to the fans going in so they could chuck it at the guys, stuff he couldn't sell, so he would sell it really dirt cheap. And so anyway, I was always around that. And but I've never really been a wrestling fan, which a lot of people are shocked by when they hear that, as long as I've been around it. I was there looking at everything, and I realized early on that it was a show. And so the guy ringing the bell was virtually a floor director, and there were cues, and there was this and there was that. So I saw very early on. So having a fascination with television, and originally I wanted to be an animator. I wanted to draw and make cartoons. Then I saw how long that took, and so the the selfishness, I think, in me, I went towards video, and because it was instant satisfaction and gratification once you're done doing something. And then when I saw, the show at the Olympic or even WWF as that started to progress, that how all this went together, that's what really sparked my interest. So I got into pro wrestling because of television, for the purpose of making television.
Right. And how many years have you been at it now?
27.
Wow, that's pretty awesome. And then you started Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, what, like 5-10 years ago?
Well, it's been around in some form or another in Los Angeles area for probably about 14 years. I was vice president of the New Japan Pro Wrestling USA operation for about 5 years out of Santa Monica, and we had the LA dojo. And that's when I really started pushing, because we had a budget from Tokyo to do television, and we started making a TV show there we called Tokan, out of the Santa Monica location, and we had CM Punk on commentary, and Samoa Joe was the ROH champion on the show, and we would bring in Makabe and Nakamura, and we'd put them against Bryan Danielson and stuff like that, Daniel Bryan, and stuff like that on that broadcast. And it aired on digital television, which at that time no one had. It was a digital, KVMD is the channel, and we did, I don't know, about 10 hours. Then we finally gave up on it because no one was watching it, because no one could get it. But it started from that, and then it evolved from that to, at one time, I was a big figure in the National Wrestling Alliance, the NWA. And so the company, after Inoki went out of business, I then picked it up and had NWA Pro Wrestling. And outside of NWA Pro Wrestling, became NWA Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, and then I went and made a deal with KTLA here in Los Angeles. Then they went into bankruptcy, and then I couldn't put the show on there, and we were shooting the show on Sunset at CBS Columbia Square, and then from out of there, we went to KDOC to get it on the air. We got it on the air, and 5 years later, we're still here.
Wow.
Yeah.
and like, so this has been like 27 years now, and
Yes.
like, during this whole time you've been here in LA, right? And like in doing this, have you had time to have a family? You got any kids? What's going on with that?
Well, got a boy, Nicholas, who's on the show now. Family, all my family is here in Southern California, born and raised here. Been all over the world a few times. Wrestling and show business has taken me away from actually settling down, if you want to call it that. I always felt bad because I felt selfish, always traveling, always doing stuff.
Right.
So it was like, well, it's not fair to everyone to actually think about a real unit of mom, dad, kids, dog, fence, all that stuff. So, it's, I don't regret it, but it's, as I get older, I'm thinking about it more and more.
Mm-hmm. Let me tell you something. All right, look, I can't believe it. We're already at the last 2 minutes of our 10 minutes. Now, look, me too. In the 2 minutes drill, I want to do a 2-minute drill. I'm going to throw off some lightning round questions to you.
Okay.
And I just want you to give me the first answer that comes to mind. Like, better dinner, Thanksgiving or Christmas?
They're both the same to me.
You're in LA. If someone cuts you off, do you mentally berate them, or do you scream out at them verbally?
It depends. I normally just yell in the car at myself.
Nice, yeah. So last time you had a stiff drink?
This morning.
Is that coffee or?
No.
Nice. Is that and goodness, yeah. What's your drink of choice? You got a nice bar over there.
Whatever you hand me.
All right.
Both bourbons.
Bourbon. Your PC or Mac?
Mac.
Yeah, I see that you're using Premiere Pro this morning.
No PC. You people should be ashamed of yourself.
What's you tweet a lot? Last tweet you sent?
Probably a Roddy Piper tweet.
Right.
Maybe.
God rest his soul.
Yeah, good guy.
Yeah, right. What's winter, spring, summer, or fall?
Southern California doesn't exist.
Yeah, it's perfect.
But my travels quickly in New York in the winter, of course, or in the autumn is very nice. I miss the snow at times just to visit, not to live there anymore. But yeah, Southern California seasons don't exist. We just had a thunderstorm in the summer, and it was amazing.
ROH or TNA?
One and the same.
One and the same. NXT or PWG?
NXT.
Okay. Vegas or New York City?
New York.
Oh, nice. All right. Hey, we got 10 seconds left.
Okay.
Last person you gave a hug to?
Geez, I'm a hugger actually, so it could be a number of people. Probably Mike Mongoose.
Mike Mongoose. All right. Dave, thank you so much for having us in today. I appreciate it. Everyone back at home, thank you for watching. See you next time.